They sold you a lie about peace. You think you know Stoicism, resilience, calm, control. But there's a deeper layer, a secret the great masters kept to themselves, about the true weight of this wisdom, a cost so high many choose to ignore it. In the next few minutes, we're tearing back the veil of idealization and exposing the brutal truths and dark demands that come with the Stoic journey, revealing why this wisdom can be such a heavy burden. Look at the Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius, alone in his campaign tent, the scent of leather and cold metal in the air. He writes to keep from going mad. He isn't writing for us. He's writing for himself, a desperate dialogue to maintain his sanity amidst absolute power and constant war. You do the same thing. In your dark room, the only light from your phone screen, you scroll the endless feed, searching for a phrase, a video, anything to silence the noise inside. The search is the same, but what they don't tell you is the price of that armor. The first truth no one dares speak aloud is that Stoicism, in its purest form, doesn't seek comfort. It demands a form of emotional mutilation. Understand this. The goal isn't to manage your emotions, it's to eradicate them. The ideal of apatheia, the tranquility of the soul, isn't achieved with breathing exercises and gratitude journals. It's achieved through brutal training to see the world as it truly is. A series of neutral events. Your success, neutral event. Your ruin, neutral event. The death of a loved one, a neutral event. Imagine Epictetus, the slave who became a master. His leg is being twisted by his master as a warning. He doesn't scream, he doesn't beg. He just looks with a disturbing calm and says, "I warned you it would break." This isn't a metaphor, it's a diagnosis. It's the ability to look at what you love most in the world, your career, your relationship, your own child, and whisper to yourself, with a bone-chilling honesty, "This is mortal. This is fragile. This isn't mine. This isn't strength. It's a scalpel." You train to amputate attachment at the root, to cauterize the wound before it even opens. The burden isn't feeling the pain of loss. The burden is living in a world where you've trained yourself to feel almost nothing. You become an indifferent spectator in the theater of your own life. And while everyone around you cries, laughs, and despairs, you just observe. Unshaken and terribly alone. You train not to feel the loss, but what happens when you stop feeling joy too. Consider the paradox of control, the second burden. Seneca, the richest man in Rome, lies on the hard ground, eats stale bread and water, forces himself to wear simple clothes in the cold. He calls it a rehearsal for poverty, an exercise to master the fear of loss. But mark this. The constant practice of not being a slave to things becomes a form of slavery itself. You're no longer chained to the desire for luxury, but to the obsessive need to prove you don't need it. Freedom becomes a performance. You become a guard in your own mental prison. Every thought is interrogated. Every impulse is judged. Is this anger justified? Is this desire rational? Is this sadness productive? Spontaneity dies. Life transforms into a complex algorithm of self-surveillance. You wanted to be free from the world's influence, but now you're chained to your own reason. It's like when you decide to do a digital detox. You delete the apps, turn off notifications, but you spend all day thinking about what you're not seeing. The fight against impulse becomes louder than the impulse itself. The Stoic doesn't break free from the chain. He just changes the blacksmith. He becomes his own jailer, polishing the cell bars with the veneer of virtue. And in this effort to become a god within yourself, don't you actually become more isolated from men? And this leads us to the third, and perhaps heaviest, of burdens, the isolation of clarity. Stoic wisdom elevates you, yes, but it elevates you to a place where the air is thin and company is non-existent. Observe the conversations around you, at work, with family, gossip about who did what, complaints about traffic, the government, the weather, fear of the future, anxiety about the past. You hear the constant hum of human dissatisfaction. The Stoic in training hears all of it and feels nothing. Or worse, he feels a mix of pity and contempt. He can't play the game anymore. He sees the rules, the futility, the self-inflicted suffering. Your calm becomes a mirror reflecting the hysteria of others. And nobody likes seeing their own face distorted by panic. People don't admire you for your tranquility. They resent you for it. Your peace is a silent accusation of their lack of peace. You become the friend who doesn't get the breakup drama, the colleague who isn't fazed by the boss's pressure, the son who doesn't despair over the family crisis. They call you cold, distant, robotic. And they're right. You sacrificed human connection on the altar of serenity. As the philosopher Émile Cioran would say, a man who rises no longer has a place in the world. You become a lighthouse, solid, luminous, guiding others through the storm. But a lighthouse is always alone in the dark, battered by the waves it helps others avoid. The moment all philosophy supposedly prepared you for: betrayal, terminal illness, irreparable loss. That instant when reality tears through theory, hitting you with the force of a train. And here lies Stoicism's darkest truth, that moment of genuine recognition of pain. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, lost at least 8 of his 13 children. Imagine him receiving the news, the messenger, pale-faced, the heavy silence in the throne room. The philosophy in his head whispers, "It's an indifferent. It happened according to nature. The logos willed it so." But the man, the father, what does he do? History records he grieved deeply. In that moment, wisdom isn't a comfort. It's an accusation, a reminder of his failure to be divine, to be more than human. All the training, all the exercises, all those sleepless nights writing to himself, and the pain is still there. Pure, savage, uncontrollable. And now, you don't just carry the burden of pain, you also carry the burden of guilt. The guilt of not being a perfect Stoic. The steel armor you spent a lifetime forging, it cracks. And through that fissure, you don't just see the world, you see yourself. A fragile, bleeding, terrified human. The burden isn't the pain itself. It's the broken promise that you'd be immune to it. Because the darkest truth of Stoicism is this: it prepares you for everything, except the moment when philosophy itself isn't enough. This leads us to the final cost, the desolation of wisdom. What happens when you truly internalize all of it? When you truly start seeing the world through the lens of a radical Stoic, you don't see people anymore. You see clusters of atoms acting on irrational impulses. You don't see love anymore. You see a biochemical attachment to an external, perishable object. You don't see ambition anymore. You see a futile chase for things outside your control. Beauty drains away. The charm vanishes. The world becomes a gray chessboard, and you're the only player who realizes the game was rigged from the start. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, though not a Stoic, completed what they left open. He saw that the will to live, the incessant desire, is the source of all suffering. The Stoic tries to manage this desire with reason. Schopenhauer would say that's like trying to dam an ocean with a bucket. The wisdom you sought for a better life ends up revealing life's own tragic nature. You become the man who, learning how the clock works, can no longer hear the music. He only hears the ticking of the gears, counting down to the inevitable stop. This is the burden of clarity. The clarity that most of what people call life is just an elaborate distraction from facing the void. And you can't distract yourself anymore. So here we are, back in the dark room. You've learned about the necessary emotional mutilation, about the paradox of control that traps you, about the social isolation your calm provokes, about philosophy's failure in the face of real pain, and about the final desolation that clarity brings. Stoicism isn't a self-help guide for a happy life. It's a survival manual for a battlefield. It gives you armor, yes, but this armor is heavy. It protects you, but it also isolates you. It makes you strong, but it also makes you cold. So, do you still want this wisdom? Do you still want to carry this weight? The promise isn't happiness. The promise is that you can endure. Endure the world, endure others. And the hardest part of all, endure yourself. The phone's light goes out. The room is absolutely silent. There are no more videos, no more quotes, no more masters. There's only you and the echo of a question. The armor is ready, but the man inside it, does he still exist? The silence that follows is your answer.